Today is Thursday, September 19th. What to know today about an accusation against the president that's now prompted an urgent classified meeting on Capitol Hill. And there's a new concern about a certain heartburn medication. Plus, Amazon's Alexa goes into politics, and the late-night TV making history. Then hang out after the news for Thing to Know Thursday's bonus interview. Welcome to the Newsworthy. All the day's news in less than 10 minutes. Fast, fair, fun, and on the go. I'm Erica Mandy. Thanks so much for being here. You ready? Let's do this. We start today with three different stories dealing with national security. The first is potentially a big one, but there's a lot we still don't know. The Washington Post is citing two sources who say a whistleblower filed a complaint about a promise President Trump allegedly made to a foreign leader. In other words, someone who works for U.S. intelligence agencies was concerned about a possible promise the president made and reported it to the Intelligence Community Inspector General, the watchdog over those agencies. The Post reports that Inspector General is calling the complaint credible and of urgent concern, and is now set to appear in front of a House committee in a closed, classified session today. For now, again, there's still a lot we don't know. Who made the complaint, which world leader President Trump is accused of making a promise to, and what that promise may have actually been. The White House is not commenting at this point. Expect to hear a lot more about this. Also dealing with national security is an update about the attack on two major oil sites in Saudi Arabia. The U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo used strong words, calling it, quote, an act of war. Pompeo said it while in Saudi Arabia this week for an emergency meeting. And while he was there, the New York Times says Saudi officials showed even more evidence, like a drone and missile parts that point to Iran. Although they're being very careful about the wording and have not directly blamed Iran just yet. President Trump didn't quite go as far as saying it was an act of war, but Fox News reports he is ordering new economic sanctions on Iran. Iran is still denying any involvement in the attack. And final thing to know, President Trump named his new national security advisor. It's Robert O'Brien. CBS News says he's currently the State Department's chief hostage negotiator, and now he'll become Trump's fourth national security advisor. He'll replace John Bolton, who left the administration last week. The Federal Reserve cut the interest rate once again. CNBC reports it's down a quarter percentage point to 1.75%. This is the second cut in just 2 months. The central bank says right now the economy is doing fairly well and unemployment is low, but things like the trade war between the U.S. and China is still a concern. While the Federal Reserve is independent, it has been facing some political pressure. President Trump has been telling the Fed to cut interest rates for a while now, yet he still called the Fed's decision this week a, quote, fail. He says it wasn't enough. As a reminder, lower interest rates are supposed to boost the economy because it lowers the cost of borrowing money. So it can impact your mortgages, car loans, and credit cards. But some experts tell the AP this change won't make much of a difference. Stay tuned to see if the Fed makes yet another interest rate cut later this year. Things just got more tense between President Trump and California. NBC News reports Trump does not want California to be able to set its own vehicle emission standards like it does now, so he plans to take that power away from the state. Trump says one standard across the country would lower car prices for consumers. Well, the national standard would be less strict than the standard in California. The Wall Street Journal says the state has been the authority on lowering air pollutants from cars for a while now, so California officials are ready to fight back and take this to court if they have to. And sort of caught in the middle, the auto industry. In fact, Vox reports at least some car makers like VW, Ford, and Honda have said they don't want Trump's more relaxed rules. For now, expect this to turn into a long legal battle. Heads up, there's a possible issue with some popular heartburn medications. Both U.S. and European health regulators are now investigating if Zantac and related heartburn meds could have a cancer-causing ingredient. While they look into it, one company says it'll stop distributing the generic version of Zantac. The company Novartis says this is just a precaution, so it's not exactly a recall. You'll still see it on store shelves, and it's allowed to be sold. But Reuters reports stores will not be getting in any new inventory, at least not right now. Expect more from the FDA about this ASAP. Well, after 3 years, the Washington Monument is reopening its doors. It's one of DC's most iconic landmarks, and CNN says the 555-foot monument has been closed since 2016 to replace an elevator and upgrade security. And the monument has actually been closed for most of the past 8 years because of other damage from an earthquake. But now the Washington Post says a ribbon-cutting ceremony will be held today, and Washington's tallest building will be open to the public once again. All right, we have more news ahead, but first a quick break to thank today's sponsor, Zola. Zola takes the stress out of wedding planning with free wedding websites, the easiest wedding registry, affordable invite options, and more. It lets you manage everything conveniently and in one place, which saves couples precious time in the wedding planning process. So it all starts with a free wedding website that has hundreds of beautiful wedding website designs, and you can include your Zola registry right there on the site to make the process easy. In fact, Zola is the only place you can register for honeymoon funds and gift cards along with physical gifts. I love that ability to really personalize your registry and provide guests with a lot of different fun and traditional options in one spot. So build your free wedding website by going to zola.com/newsworthy and you'll get $50 toward your registry. Again, go to zola.com/newsworthy. That's zola.com/newsworthy to build your free wedding website and get $50 toward your registry. Now back to the news. Amazon's Alexa is getting into politics. The voice assistant will donate to presidential candidates for you. CNET reports you'll be able to say, "Alexa, donate to," and then say your candidate's name. You'll be able to send up to $200 this way, starting in October. And USA Today says Alexa will also give you some fast facts about each of the candidates if you ask. The company says it will offer, quote, neutral, unbiased, and nonpartisan information. Also new from Amazon, it's now offering a new way to pay for online orders. Cash. So if you want to pay with cold hard cash, you can make the purchase online and then go to a Western Union bank to hand over the money. Here's how it works. When you go to checkout on Amazon, you'll click Pay Code. You'll get a code, then you'll have 24 hours to pay for the items. CNET says this should make it easier for people who don't have a bank account or credit card to still have the option to make purchases online. But Amazon says it's actually just about giving all customers another payment option. In fact, Amazon also has Amazon Cash. That lets shoppers go to convenience stores and add money to a balance that can then be used to shop online. That option is available now at 100,000 locations in the US. Facebook is stepping up its video chat game with a new gadget called Portal TV. It lets you video chat from your television. TechCrunch says you plug Facebook's device called Portal into your TV using an HDMI cord, and when you're ready to make a call, you can say, "Hey Portal," to wake up the device and ask it to call someone on Messenger or WhatsApp. You can also use it to watch Facebook shows with others, as well as some streaming services like Showtime if you have those accounts. Critics are worried about privacy, though. The Verge says, like other smart speakers, Facebook will be able to listen to some of the things you say to Portal as a way to try to improve quality. But Facebook says you can opt out. Portal TV will start shipping in November, and it's one of 3 new Portal devices just announced. From YouTube star to late-night talk show host, Lily Singh is making history. The Verge says she's the first queer woman of color to get her own late-night talk show on a major network, and she's the first YouTube creator to get a job like this. She's known for her YouTube channel, Superwoman, and now she's hosting her own show on NBC called A Little Late with Lily Singh. The show comes on at 1:35 a.m. Eastern Time. You can expect sketches, lip-syncing, musical covers, challenges, and late-night interview segments. And that's it for the main news today, but it's now time for Thing to Know Thursday, where a different expert explains a different thing to know only on Thursdays after the news. And this week, we're talking about vaccines and misinformation. Even though the measles outbreak in the U.S. is just starting to fade, how did this outbreak happen in the first place? Many experts blame misinformation online. We've also recently seen sites like Facebook and Pinterest changing their rules to try and fight back against that misinformation. So today, we're talking to a well-known doctor and social media star, Mikhail Varshavsky, better known as Dr. Mike. He's a practicing board-certified family medicine doctor who also has millions of followers on both Instagram and YouTube. He says he hopes to provide more accurate medical information online. A note that due to his location, there's a little bit of background noise, but you should still be able to hear him just fine. Hi, Dr. Mike. Thanks so much for coming on the Newsworthy.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate that, Erica.
So let's get it out in the open right now in case there is anyone listening that feels this is a controversial conversation. Obviously, when we talk about vaccines, especially on a news show like this, we talk about what the science shows. And science shows that vaccines are safe. So first, where did this come from that people are scared of vaccines? And is it something that you see firsthand?
It's absolutely something I see firsthand. Being a family medicine provider, I not only see children who obviously get the most of vaccines, but I also see adults who get vaccines throughout their lives, including the flu shot, the pneumococcal vaccine, the zoster vaccine as they get older. And there's been certainly an increase in what we call vaccine hesitancy, which is folks not being sure whether or not vaccines are safe. And I want to make it clear right at the outset, right here, Erica, that not only are vaccines safe, but the reason that doctors like myself, the CDC, the WHO, the UNICEF organization, why we are all on the same page on this is because that the benefits strongly outweigh the possible harms that can come with vaccines. A lot of people are quick to focus on and say, well, look, there are certainly adverse reactions that happen with vaccines. We are not hiding that. There's adverse reactions with any kind of medical intervention. What we have to do is be honest about what the true benefits and true harms are. And in this case, it's 100% clear that benefits outweigh the harm.
And where did this fear that's stopping some people, or at least making them hesitate, where did that come from? And how long has it been going on?
Well, there's always been a subset of a population that has been questioning vaccines, creating conspiracy theories around it. But now what happens is we have a population that's growing of adults, parents, children that are vaccine hesitant, meaning that they're unsure about whether vaccines are safe. So what they do is they log on to social media and they search vaccine safe, vaccine negative outcomes. And when you search these terms, the majority of results that you're going to get are negative results. Because the way search algorithms work, they're designed to give you the things that are most click-worthy, most buzzy, most extreme. But the majority of the time when it comes to medicine, that means that they're least accurate. And when I want my patients who are parents to get information on vaccinations, I want them to get the most accurate information. So what I've noticed is that the absence of quality evidence-based physicians on social media has really created this gap that allowed people who peddle these conspiracy theories, disinformation, misinformation, to really trick parents into making a horrible decision to not vaccinate their children.
And to that point, you have millions of followers on social media like YouTube and Instagram. So what is your goal and why are you doing that?
Well, vaccines is a great example of a field of medicine that I can go into right away and not only break up this misinformation, but also answer people's questions in a way that they understand. And I want to encourage more medical professionals to go and utilize social media, put quality information out there, because right now, the stuff that's out there is truly a misinformation superhighway.
Let's talk a little bit about the impact of the misinformation and the fear of vaccines, such as the measles outbreak in the US. And what are other consequences of this misinformation?
Well, in the year 2000, we essentially considered measles eradicated in the United States. Now we currently have over 1,000 cases, which is the most we've had in over 2 decades. To have that happen as a result of social media fueling misinformation is crazy in my mind. In fact, this is happening in my backyard. I'm New York City based myself, and it's happening right here in New York, where there's a group, a really isolated group of Orthodox Jewish community, where they're essentially choosing to not believe the information doctors are giving them because of pieces of information they found online. What happens in this interconnected world is that people travel. All it takes is one person from that community to go into other areas of the United States where people are unable to be vaccinated, or children that have yet to be vaccinated, because we don't start giving the measles vaccine right when children are born. And that can create even more problems. The reason why we want everyone to be immunized is because it creates something known as community protection or herd immunity. When we have 95% coverage with a vaccine, that means that the disease can essentially be eradicated. But right now, we're seeing those rates fall almost below 90%. And really who we're putting at risk is children who have yet to get the vaccine, older individuals whose immunity is waning, and then also those who are immunocompromised as a result of cancer treatment, autoimmune disease. And for those people to get sick simply because of misinformation, I think that's a real tragedy.
Yeah, you've talked about the people that are not vaccinated, their children aren't necessarily bad people, that they just have been misinformed.
Far too often, I see medical providers attack those who are not vaccinating their children, demonize them. That's not an ideal route. If you study any bit of influential psychology, you understand that in order for someone to believe whatever it is you're saying or to change their point of view, they need to first understand you, like you, and feel like you respect them as well. So we need to approach the situation with some empathy and compassion, and only then we can start making some meaningful change.
And you can learn more about this issue and our guest, Dr. Mike, in today's show notes on thenewsworthy.com. That's also where you can read more about all the news stories mentioned in this episode. Just go to thenewsworthy.com/show notes and find today's date. Thank you for listening. The Newsworthy is here for you by 4 in the morning every weekday, so we'll chat again tomorrow. Have a great day.